this hour, US President Donald Trump will meet with Italy's Prime Minister after spending the weekend trying to undermine the Russia investigation. Plus, a historic election in Zimbabwe, the first of its kind in 37 years. How former leader Robert Mugabe is stirring up controversy. And the earthquake in Indonesia, more than a dozen's killed, many more homeless, and hundreds are trapped on a mountain. All that and much more right here at the International Desk. Hello and welcome, I'm Lynda Kinkade. In just 2 hours, US President Donald Trump will welcome the new Italian Prime Minister to the White House. Mr. Trump and Giuseppe Conte are expected to take questions in the Rose Garden later, at a time when Italy's leadership is looking more like President Trump's. The president is sure to be asked about his intensified attacks on the Russia probe led by Special Counsel Robert Mueller. He let loose a barrage of accusations on Twitter over the weekend. He also tweeted he took his fake news complaints directly to the publisher of the New York Times in a meeting this month. He again labelled journalists the enemy of the people. The Times publisher says he warned the president to stop the increasingly dangerous attacks on journalism. Well, we will have more on President Trump's meeting with the Italian Prime Minister in just a moment. But first, Abby Phillip gets us up to speed on Mr. Trump's latest tweet onslaught, rallying against the Russia investigation.
With Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation inching closer and closer to Trump's inner circle, the president ramping up his attacks against the probe and directly targeting Mueller by name. In a series of tweets, the president accusing Mueller of having conflicts of interest, including an alleged contentious business relationship with Mr. Trump. The White House did not respond to CNN's request for information, but ethics experts from the Justice Department determined last year that Mueller's assignment is appropriate. President Trump's latest criticism coming days after sources told CNN that the president's former lawyer Michael Cohen is prepared to tell Mueller that then-candidate Trump knew in advance and approved the Trump Tower meeting with Russians promising dirt on Hillary Clinton months before the 2016 election. The president has repeatedly denied that he had any knowledge of the meeting. Cohen also authorizing the release of a recording of a conversation with Mr. Trump, discussing a potential payment to a Playboy model who claims she had an affair with him, something the president denies.
I need to open up a company for the transfer of all of that info regarding our friend David.
President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, telling CBS that tapes of 183 Cohen conversations exist, but that only one captures a conversation with the president.
There are 12 others, maybe 11 or 12 others, out of the 183, in which the president is discussed at any length by Cohen, mostly with reporters, all clearly corroborating what the president has said in detail on many of those tweets. So these are tapes I want you to read. I want you to hear them.
Giuliani continuing to assail Cohen's character.
The man is a pathological manipulator, liar.
Despite repeatedly praising him.
He doesn't have any incriminating evidence about the president or himself. The man is an honest, honorable lawyer.
President Trump also taking to Twitter to again threaten a government shutdown if Congress does not fund his border wall and change the nation's immigration laws. The threat coming after the president met with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and House Speaker Paul Ryan last week to talk about government funding. After that meeting, both leaders downplaying the possibility of a shutdown.
So you're not worried about a government shutdown before the midterms?
No, that's not going to happen.
Abby Phillip reporting there for us. Our Jeremy Diamond joins me now from the White House briefing room. And we know that the Justice Department vetted everyone on the Mueller investigation team. We know that Mueller is a longtime Republican. Does the president have any evidence to back his claim that Mueller has a conflict of interest? Because this morning on New Day we heard from his lawyer. Let's just take a quick listen to what he had to say.
Are you saying that the business conflict that Mueller and President Trump had, is that about his golf course?
I'm not going to go any further. You're not going to.
Is that what you think?
It is up to the president to describe it in further detail if he elects to do so. Or if Mueller would like to come out and explain why it's not a conflict, I invite Bob to do it.
Why didn't the president?
We waived. Let me finish. We waived the privilege when the whole thing came out because we're anxious to have you get the truth. So let's see if Mueller has that same impulse.
Well, again, it's President Trump that brought it up. I think it's incumbent upon President Trump to explain what he's talking about.
It's Mueller who possibly hasn't disclosed the conflict.
That was Rudy Giuliani there talking to Alison Camerota from New Day, clearly not wanting to weigh in on this so-called conflict of interest, and either does the president. So why put it out there without providing that evidence to back it up?
You know, it's so fascinating when we hear Rudy Giuliani talking about Michael Cohen, for example, and the accusations that he is lobbying in the direction of the president. Giuliani has repeatedly said it's incumbent upon Michael Cohen to try and prove this, and whether he can prove this and will he prove this, and he won't be able to prove this. And yet, when it comes to the president's own accusations about Robert Mueller, it seems like Mr. Giuliani is saying that the burden of proof there is on Robert Mueller. So an interesting twisting of logic there from the president's attorney. But clearly this is something that the president has done very frequently. He uses simply a sniff of suspicion or these accusations that are frequently baseless to try and discredit the special counsel's investigation. He's done so repeatedly, and so far it appears that neither the president nor his attorney want to be forthcoming about their allegations about the special counsel and whether he has any kind of business conflict. So until we see any kind of evidence, any kind of comments from the president, it seems like we have no other way to conclude other than the accusations are baseless.
Yeah, absolutely. And we certainly know the president's war on the media continues. He had a private meeting with the publisher of the New York Times. Private, of course, being the key word because it was meant to be off the record. The president then tweeted about it, and the New York Times decided to release a detailed statement on what was said. But those accounts are at odds.
That's right. Let me read you the president's tweet, first of all, about this. When the president tweeted about this meeting, he said, had a very good and interesting meeting at the White House with A.G. Sulzberger, publisher of the New York Times, spent much time talking about the vast amounts of fake news being put out by the media and how that fake news has morphed into the phrase enemy of the people. Sad. The president's tweet there making it sound like A.G. Sulzberger perhaps even agreed with the president's characterization of this meeting and characterization of the media as fake news. The Sulzberger quickly came out with a statement to make clear that he had this meeting with the president, especially to push back on this characterization of the media as the enemy of the people, making clear that while he should feel free to voice his criticism of the New York Times and other outlets and specific stories, that he felt that his use of the term enemy of the people was particularly dangerous to journalists, not only in the United States, but especially abroad, where we've seen several autocratic regimes use the president's attacks on the media to discredit reporting in their countries and to launch these attacks on the free press.
All right, Jeremy Diamond, we'll leave it there for now at the White House. Thank you so much.